Now, when we are asked to think something about our life, we can think only in the four terms. We think sometimes that there is nothing more than these four things in life. If we can provide for these four things, that is what is called skepticism or atheism, etc. Because we know some people say it as skeptics. If you say there is some science, scientific facts, you say, what is the utility of it? If you say that it gives you heat in your room, he says, accepts the science. Otherwise, no. So, if anything has an application to one of these four activities, then he accepts. We call him a skeptic. I think you know the word skeptic. Then, after some time, he is vexed with these things. He thinks that everything is fateful. There is something is written about us somewhere by someone who is not known to us, and we can name him God or devil because he is not known. When he is not known, if we are too much afraid of him, we call him devil. But if we expect some benevolence, we call him God. And we try to believe in him, but only to think that we have to wait for the day because everything is predestined and written there for us. There's nothing for us to do, nothing to attempt. This is quite natural because the life we understand is only very little, only including these four parts. And the data and the instruments we have are very scanty. That is the mind and the five senses and the body. The body is only a wooden cabinet for the mind and the five senses. It has some machines, some mechanism to feed food and water inside to excrete some things, just like our house and the water arrangement, the tap arrangement, the bathroom, the toilet, etc. We have all the arrangements in this. So, but for that, we have nothing. The real instruments we have with us are the mind and the five senses. We are able to see outside, we are able to see inside. When we see inside, we have only four things, I told you. When we see outside, we have many things. This is the data with which we are sent to the Garden of Eden. It is this year. Children of God in the Garden of Eden. We are going in the garden. We don't know where is the garden. We don't know how far it is. We don't know what to do. So we are living. Now, faithful, we are conditioned and we begin to think. But only in these four terms. Then we begin to act according to our thinking. The actions are not based on any logic except the logic of these four things, four items. So we are bound to do certain things. And whenever we receive some impressions from the environment, they are bound to get their image on the mind. And the mind is like plaster. And the impression received remains there. And then another impression is received. It is also received thousands and thousands of impressions with which the whole plate of mind is blurred. The same photographic plate is exposed again and again, thousands and thousands of times. So, we have pictures too much blurred. And with those pictures, we are conditioned. Every picture gives us an idea, a spur to do something. Again we do something. By doing something, we get a rearrangement of the things around us. Again we get a new picture. Again, so a thought drives us to an act. The act drives us to a result, a consequence. The result again conditions us to a thought. This is a chain action of three factors. This is what is called self-conditioning or karma conditioning. And unless this is broken, there is no possibility for us to know what our existence is. We are like the chick in an egg. Unless the shell is broken, the chick has no idea of what the world is. Before that, its world is the egg. Like this, they have. So, it is, if we base on this environment and begin to act, it is our change. It's not constant. When I meet you, I have you as my environment. When I meet Roda, I have him as my environment. Always it is changing. So, I have no program. My program is always changing. We can't call it a program. It is compared with a person sitting in a chariot with 5 horses, and the horses are reduced by some fine green grass outside. They are driving the chariot, and the chariot is moving, but you cannot call it a journey. When the chariot is drawn by the external impulsions, there is no journey, there is only a locomotion. So our whole of our activity is locomotion. That is the first initiation is given in the Bhagavad Gita. That is, the person sits in a chariot. The chariot has 5 horses, but he wants a driver. So now we want a driver. So all the Bhagavad Gita is an initiation given by the driver to the person in the chariot. This is the simple picture given for Bhagavad Gita. And the environment is ever changing with the reflections of the environment we have seen. Hence, we can understand, because it is ever changing, it can be changed once again. So it is not faithful. Exactly for the same reason, we have an opportunity to make a new change, to make an attempt to have a contact with the higher self. So fatalism has no place. Because it is already ever changing, there is an opportunity to change any time. When we ourselves begin to make a change, we can make a change for the better. It is a direct proof that fatalism is not true. And the need to have a change is always there. And a conscious contact is to be made. So a scientific process is needed. And the scientific process is yoga. And the contact is to begin yoga practice.